I cut the check, I cut the check, I cut the check. Tell my niggas we up next, so we up next. She shot a text, she shot a text, she shot a text. Kill the I might put the different day, put a nigga on that same shit. I've been ballin' with my niggas, Kevin Cambridge. Oh, you drippy, but you better tuck your chain quick.
What's up, guys? I want to keep this episode short and quick because the lighting is not that good at all. It's raining outside and my lights in my room not even that bright. So I want to keep this episode, well, it's not really an episode, it's just talking about the main topic. I want to keep this short and quick, so let's get straight into it. I want to talk about Chris Paul. So yesterday was a report that came out that the Suns and the Thunder were in talks of trading for Chris Paul. And that was a real surprising report because throughout the offseason, the teams you thought the teams that you heard that were connected to Chris Paul were basically the Bucks, Lakers, Clippers, and the Knicks. Just those four teams that you thought that was going to get Chris Paul. Because I'm pretty sure a lot of people knew, and I know that Chris Paul is not going to be in the Thunder in the beginning of next season. Even though the season's coming real soon, he's not going to be there. They're going to try to cash out on him soon while his value is still high, because that's how great Sam Presti is. He finesses. That's I believe the general manager of the Thunder. He finesses like what he did for Russell Westbrook and for Paul George. Got all them picks, got two young assets. Also got Chris Paul, and they went to the playoffs. So he's a great GM, and I feel like he's about to cash in on trying to trade Chris Paul at his highest value right now, because Chris Paul just came off a really good season, All-Star, first time in I want to say 2 years. All-Star, led the team to the 5th seed. They almost beat the 4th seed, came down to almost the last shot, and he had a great season. So he's going to try to cash in on his value. He's going to try to trade him. And then yesterday it just came out with a report that said the Suns are looking at him, and I'm like, that's a great fit. that's the fit that's going to put Devin Booker in those playoff moments that everybody uses against him. People want to make that argument with him and Donovan Mitchell, when to a lot of people, including me, that argument's not even close. Devin Booker is superior over him, and that's not to downgrade Donovan Mitchell's game. And I hate that when you talk about Donovan Mitchell or when you talk about Devin Booker, you always hear about the other person. Usually when you hear about Devin Booker, they're going to talk about Donovan Mitchell because they're in the same tier as far as age, I would say, and they're both young guards that's leading their team. But as far as talent, I don't think Donovan Mitchell is on Devin Booker's level. And people will argue that Donovan Mitchell is better than Devin Booker because what he did in the playoffs. Well, Devin Booker hasn't been able to go to the playoffs because the team that's been put around him, he finally has a good team put around him, and Chris Paul will be that piece to put him in the playoffs where he can have those moments where he will have them great moments like you see in the bubble. He led the team to 8-0, had that game-winning shot over the Clippers. He can play in the playoffs. He's not gonna be trash in the playoffs. Devin Booker's not that type to be trash in the playoffs. So with adding Chris Paul, that's gonna put, to me, automatically that's gonna put this Suns team in the playoffs, and this West is gonna be even different, deeper, and be more and more competitive. It's 10 teams you can say that gonna make the playoffs in the West. Lakers, Clippers, Thunder. Well, probably not the Thunder no more. Actually, you can probably take them out. So Rockets, Mavericks, Pelicans, Kings, Grizzlies, Suns. Probably missing somebody, but that's 8 teams, and it's a lot of teams in this West. And then you add that Suns team with Chris Paul, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, and then Mikal Bridges. Now they'll probably have to trade Kelly Oubre and Ricky Rubio, so you can't say them. But Cam Johnson had a really good bubble, so a lot of people why they wanted to draft him so high, even though they really didn't have to trade up to draft him. He had a really good bubble. Cameron Payne had a resurrection to his career, played really great in the bubble. So this team definitely gonna make the playoffs if they trade for Chris Paul, and it's looking like they're gonna trade for Chris Paul because it also just came out with another report that said the Thunder let Chris Paul talk to the Suns because the Thunder, they're a great organization. It was a report the other day that said for Paul George, when he signed back to them a couple years ago, they told him if it doesn't work out this season and you want to get traded next offseason, just tell us, we'll trade you to the best option where you want to go at. They're saying the same thing to Chris Paul. Then they just told him he can talk to any team he wants, and they'll try to make that trade happen. So they're really going to try to make him go to the Suns, because they said Chris Paul is intrigued about going to the Suns. So I think it's said and done. I think he's going to the Suns. We'll probably hear that report in a week or two. But they're going to have to probably trade Kelly Oubre or Mikal Bridges. I don't know which one they want to keep. Like, Kelly Oubre is obviously the better player right now. But as far as what can help the Suns more, I would say Mikal Bridges, because he can a great 3 and D wing already. And Kelly Oubre is a great 3 and D wing, but he is more than a 3 and D wing. He can create for his own. And I feel like when you got Devin Booker, Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, the ball is not going to be in Kelly Oubre's hand that much. And he's not really a great spot-up shooter like Mikal Bridges is. So they'll probably just trade Kelly Oubre. Plus, Mikal Bridges is cheaper. Kelly Oubre has like a 16 million contract. So just trading him right now, especially while his value is high, because his value is pretty high. Ricky Rubio, it's not like he had a bad season, but when it's just a chance to upgrade, just upgrade. So I understand trading him, and they might or might not have to add that 10th overall pick, because Chris Paul did have a great season, but he still is getting old. And he still is a person that dealt with injuries throughout his whole career. Now, last year is one of the first years in his career where he didn't get faced with an injury the whole year. So, I don't know if Sam Presti is going to try to use that as leverage to get that 10th overall pick. And he might, because like I said, Sam Presti is a finesser. So, he might get that 10th overall pick out of the Suns, and they're going to have even more picks. The Thunder got a lot of picks. So, I don't know. This might be that Suns team gonna be fun. That pick and roll with DeAndre Ayton and the ability to close the games with Chris Paul. He's also a really clutch player along with Devin Booker. So that's gonna be fun to see who closes the game each night. I feel like Chris Paul is gonna be like a culture change for the Suns. Like, he's going to change that culture in the Suns. They're usually used to losing all the time. But, like, Chris Paul is a winning player. All the franchises he went to, he turned them around. Turned the, what do they call it? The Hornets. Turned the Hornets around. Turned the Clippers around. Him and James Harden turned the Rockets around. He turned the Thunder around. So he's been used to turning teams around. And I feel like he's going to turn his Suns team around. They're going to be a playoff team as soon as he gets there. He's going to be a big part in DeAndre Ayton's development, of course. That pick and pop or that pick and roll is going to be amazing with them too. And just, he's going to make that team a playoff team. I can't wait to, I hope he gets traded there. I was a person that wanted him to get traded to the Bucks, and that's just because he can help Giannis a lot. Like, Giannis is not that player that can create for himself in the half court, or that is a player that you give him the ball in the fourth quarter and you tell him to go get us a bucket. He's not that player yet. And Chris Paul is that player. And he's the person that can close. Like, for that Bucks team, their problem is they can't close the game at all. And when it comes to half-court basketball, they're not that good at it. And that's a big part of their point guard, Eric Bledsoe. And not to downgrade his game, but he's just not the player for that team. And everybody, and me also, felt like Chris Paul was that perfect player. But I'm not going to lie, I like the Suns and Chris Paul more better than the Bucks and Chris Paul. Even though the Bucks and Chris Paul probably would have got Chris Paul that championship more sooner. And for him, that was probably the best option. But like, this Suns and Chris Paul just seemed like a fun team. So it's going to be a fun team. It's going to be one of my favorite teams to watch. It might make me become a Suns fan, because I love Chris Paul. And I love Devin Booker. So I just feel like this Suns team is going to be amazing to watch. Hopefully they can make the playoffs. I think they are, but the West is really deep. I'm talking about the Pelicans going to be better. Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies, you might sleep on them, but they're going to be better. Dallas Mavericks, they might be a 4th, 5th seed next year. They're not being no 7th seed no more. So like, it's going to be a deep West, but I feel like with Chris Paul leading this team along with Devin Booker, I feel like this team can be 6th or 7th seed in the West next season. So hopefully this trade gets made. I know I'm talking like it already got made, but that's how bad I want it to happen. I hope he gets traded. And I thought that was an alert right there. I was making sure. So hopefully Chris Paul gets traded to the Suns. Hopefully we see that soon. And it's also a good thing for the Thunder. Like, get rid of him while his value's high. Shea's going to be that number 2. You get that 10th overall pick, you can get that point guard back. So, or you can get another person that probably fell in the draft. Because this is a deep draft. It's not a draft that's going to have that superstar player yet. But it's a draft that has deep NBA ready players. So, they're winners in this trade too. They're both winners. And then you get Kelly Oubre back that can slide into that 3 next to Shea. That's a great pairing, I guess. And then you lose Chris Paul, but you can gain Ricky Rubio, who can also teach Shea. Like, Ricky Rubio's not no trash person. He's just not Chris Paul. So, hey, I think it's a win for both teams. And that gives them assets if they want to trade again. They trade Ricky Rubio. The Clippers keep talking about they want a point guard. You can get Ricky Rubio. Then when that 90-day period up before you can trade him again, trade him to the Clippers and get more picks. Like, they can. It's plenty ways they can do this. It's plenty ways that they can definitely win off that trade too. So hopefully it happens for both teams. And I don't know. That's it, man. I'm just waiting till the NBA season comes back December 22nd. That's going to be so fun. It's going to be so fun. I hope they don't have these little cliche games like the Lakers versus Warriors on Christmas. I'm tired of seeing that. I remember last year when LeBron first came, we played the Warriors 3 times in the preseason. Why are we playing them 3 times? Back to back to back. Like, why? Why do we do that? Like, I'm tired of playing the Warriors. I want Lakers versus Clippers or Lakers versus Nets. Just put that LeBron versus KD matchup right there. Put it on the first game. First game of the day, put that right there. I just want that. And I want like Mavericks versus Nuggets game, like fun games. Pelicans versus Heat. Just fun games, entertaining games when the NBA first comes back. So can't wait for that to come back. Hopefully with COVID coming back up, hopefully it don't stop the NBA from starting back up. And hopefully none of the players catch it. Hopefully nobody catches it. I'm not gonna single out on players. Hopefully nobody catches it. Hopefully the world gets safer. And I don't know. Just hopefully, can't wait to get basketball back. I might do a draft episode because the draft is coming up. Even though I already did a mock draft, if you want to see it, I want to see it like a month ago. I did a mock draft, but I want to do like draft sleepers. Like, I really want to study some players. Like, I've been looking at some players like Emmanuel quickly. Look him up. He's a great player. Great player that I've been seeing falling to the second round. I'm like, what? No, Emmanuel's like 20 to 30 to me. That he should be drafted around that time. But I want to do draft sleepers and get y'all educated on some draft players that y'all probably don't know. So I'll see you back. I'll see you back. P.S. guys, I just seen a report that said the Thunder have no interest in Kelly Oubre and Ricky Rubio. So how are they going to get Chris Paul? Like, I guess for Mikal Bridges and the 10th overall pick, I mean, that's still a great deal. But damn, I thought it was for Kelly Oubre and Ricky Rubio. That just threw me off guard. I also just seen a report that said James Harden has been distanced away from the Rockets. Like, he hasn't been talking to them, hasn't been answering their calls. And that's crazy because the season is in like a month. So, like, if you don't want to be there, just say it so they can trade you. They said the Warriors, the Celtics, the Nets, the Nuggets, and the Sixers are potential suitors for James Harden. So, like, this NBA offseason might be crazy, guys. I felt like I had to add that. Like, I just looked at my phone when I pressed stop recording. So that was crazy. But like I said, I'll see you on my draft episode.